Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Anthony with Wreck to Recovery. Uh, Pardon the lighting, bad lighting. This lighting here is too much, but I didn't want to set up my. I don't know. I was too lazy to set up my tripod, so we'll try to go with this. Let's see. Okay. Anyways, yeah, there we go. I guess that's okay. I want to tell y'all what happened today. What happened today was I was taking a delivery, a truck to a dealership. I'm not going to say what dealership it was, and but I called ahead and I was told that I was supposed to unload on the street that's behind them. Well, and I said, okay, and I kind of looked on my Google Maps while they were telling me this, and I could see the street that they were describing, and then I saw a street that ran beside the dealership, and it went to that back street. So I just saw that was a good path back there, or so I thought, And I was on my way to the dealership. When I got to that street, I looked and I saw that it was a little more narrow than what I had anticipated. Well, I'm in an 18-wheeler, a big car hauler, 80 foot long, and so I had to swing real wide. I had to swing out real wide to make that turn onto that street. And there were cars on both sides of the street next to the curb. So really, once I started making the turn, there was only room for me or another vehicle. There's only room down the middle of that road, and I didn't know about any other path to get there. So, once I had made that turn, it was a little too late. But there was as soon as I was coming up, there was a guy in a vehicle, and I could actually see, because I'm up high, I can actually tell he has one of the dealer's shirts on, and I can also tell that he's a technician. I know enough about that to recognize it. So the guy's coming towards me, and he stops. Well, I'm turning onto the road, and I'm sticking in the road, but a lot of my trailer is still out in the road I just came from, still stuck out there. And so he just he sees me and he stops. We're facing each other, and he throws up his hands like what the hell, and I just motioned to him like, hey man, you're gonna have to back up. I just motioned to him, you back up, because I can't not. He's in a vehicle, a little car. All right, easy for him to back up a little bit and get out of my way and turn into a driveway or something while I go past him. Simple, okay? I'm in an 18-wheeler. I cannot blindside back into the street where there's cars and everything, just to allow him to go ahead and go, and then I had to go back in again. That's a lot of problems I'm causing by doing that. All he's got to do is back up a little bit. So after I motioned him, I had, man, you got to back up, and he just bam flips me off, and then fucking turns. Sorry about the F-bomb, but anyways, he turns, backs up, and then he starts to pull into their parking lot where I can get past him, and he flips me off again, and I just waved to say thank you, for moving, and he flips me off again. Like, that was 3 times, and I just sit there, and I the old me would have been like, gotten angry, like, Because, like, dude, you have no idea what I have to go through in order to bring cars to your dealership for the general public. You know, here's a lesson, okay? And I've wanted to say this to some people that have, gotten mad at me for unloading where the dealers had you unload, and different dealers, all right, is if it wasn't for guys like me and some of my Car Island friends, if it wasn't for us going to different dealers and putting up with some of the headaches and the crap from the general public that don't understand, getting ticked off and at us, for having to maneuver around trees and whatever, if it wasn't for all of that, us going through all this mess, none of us would have cars to drive, And of course, it starts with the factory and it starts with the parts. So we're not the beginning of it, but we had to go through a lot of crap to get that finished product to the dealer so that somebody can buy it. And even if it's a used car at a dealer, well, it came from a truck at some point. So anyways, he flipped me off a total of 3 times and backed up, pulled in. So I just, waved, and I just went on by him and went to the back road and I unloaded. And I sat there and I didn't let myself get angry. I was kind of like thinking, why would somebody get so upset over having to back up a little bit? It didn't take you but a few seconds in a car, but a few seconds, and easy in a car. Oh man! So I let it go. I just let it go, and I unloaded there. He had already left, and I started thinking to myself, there's no telling what's going on in this guy's head. There's no telling what problems he might have. Maybe he's got a family member that's got cancer. Maybe his wife cheated on him. Maybe, there's no telling. There's no need for me to, think of different things. But the thing is I realize there might be something dark going on with him. There might be a reason why he was so angry that, I had him back up for me. And, I don't know. But, even my buddy EC pointed out to me that hey, because I was telling him about the story and about how I didn't let it faze me. And I just thought, well, there's no telling what's going on. And he said, hey, it's a good chance to just pray for him. Pray for him. And I think that's right. I think that's a good thing to do, is just say, you know what, Father, I don't know what's going on with that gentleman today. There might not be anything going on with him. But Father, I just want to lift that gentleman up to you, Father, and I just want to pray, Father, that you help him to have better days ahead. And Lord, help him to know you. Father, help him to know who you are, and just draw him to you, Father, so that he embraces you in his life. And whatever's going on with him, Father, I just pray for healing, mental, physical, whatever's going on. Amen. So, that's what we can do when people lash out at us, and there's nothing really we can do about it. I personally know some people that the minute he acted like a fool, they would have got out of, and acted like a fool back. And there would have been an ugly situation, real ugly. you know, hey, it's not affecting me one bit, not anymore. But guess what it is doing? It's allowing me to share this with y'all and hoping maybe later on, something like this might happen to you, and you might say, wait a minute, you know what? Gotta let that go. I gotta let that go. I'll never see that guy again in my life. I won't. I'll never see that guy again. So imagine if I would have gotten upset and lost control and got out of the truck, you know, done something stupid over somebody that I had that I will never see again. But I guarantee you do something stupid, you'll see him again in court. So just a thought, man. I hope y'all have a good night, and I hope this helps somebody. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. It's kind of long videos, but I had to bring it all out to you. Thanks.